Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here, back at you again with yet another What Did We Learn Raw video. But before we get into that, I would like to thank the subscribers and everyone that's just been supporting the channel, guys. We're really appreciative of what's going on so far. The channel keeps growing. I'm liking the growth. Me and Pete, we're continuing to we're getting a little sentimental. I mean, I know it's a little bit low subscriber number, but we're starting to put out the daily content like we promised at the beginning of the Fusion Corp channel when we were starting the channel out. Of course, it didn't happen all of a sudden, but now that we're starting to put daily content out, we're starting to get better at it. I'm very appreciative of you guys checking it out. Like I said, this is Fusion Corp, where we do basketball videos, Raw reviews, Dragon Ball Super reviews, and a lot more content coming your guys' way, especially with the gimmick cast. But like I said, thank you guys so much to our subscribers and to everyone that checks out the channel. Thank you so much for doing that, guys. But let's get right into what you guys came here for, and that is the What Did We Learn Raw talk, or Raw review, I would say. But let's start it right now. So the first thing we got to talk about, of course, is the Kurt Angle thing. And before I get into the Kurt Angle thing, we're going to get into a rant, and that is going to be, I'm going to have it after this, because I really want to talk about it before I forget it in my head, because what happened tonight was just very inexcusable, and it just pisses me the hell off, especially what they did to some of the characters in this wrestling community, like the characters that we loved and enjoyed. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. But let's start off first with what happened at the beginning of Raw. Of course, Kurt Angle is giving a speech to his superstars that are out in front. Everyone's out there. They're discussing what happened with the Raw attack, or SmackDown attack, I should say, the Under Siege, as the word that they like to keep to use. And basically, out when he does his speech, he gets the what chance, which, of course, is just very disrespectful, especially to a legend like Kurt. Guys, come on. We're better than that, Baltimore. But he doesn't need the what chance. Kurt has earned enough respect where those chants should never be chanted at him. What chants are for those who can't get over and are just terrible at their jobs. But, of course, here comes Stephanie McMahon, the return of Stephanie McMahon, probably the worst character in WWE history. Of course, the cringiest one. She likes to just, It's just the way I don't like her is because she belittles people, men and women, so it's not like a sexist thing or anything like that, but she likes to belittle these guys and these superstars. But the problem is that she never gets her comeuppance. She always is one of those characters that can be a dick, but can never get it back. So like if someone does it to her, it's just not going to happen. And the thing is like when Vince was like that, at least Vince got his comeuppance and actually wrestled. I understand with Stephanie, you can't wrestle, a dude can't wrestle her, and a woman can't really wrestle her either. But at the same time, I would have liked her to at least get her comeuppance once in a while. I don't know, maybe she could. I mean, the closest thing we got to it was the Triple H bumping her into the table. That's probably the closest thing we're going to get to a comeuppance. Something I think that we should really be focusing on, and sorry as I adjust the mic, I just want to make sure I want to sit up straight, but something that I want to really just focus in on is that she needs to get her comeuppance, guys. It's just about time that happens. Man. She just annoys me as a character, and I wish she would get her comeuppance once in a while. I know that's the word I'm using right now in this Raw review, just like they used Under Siege, but let's just get right to it. Of course, Stephanie McMahon is talking to Kurt Angle about how he failed at this stuff, talking about how the roster got sick, all this other kind of just garbage that she was spewing. She uses Kurt Angle's lines about the 3 eyes, and of course the "it's true, it's damn true." Of course, very cringe. Stephanie McMahon isn't an original character, so it's just very cringe. And if we have to see her on TV, I'm just gonna be I'm very frustrated and just annoyed as it is right now. I mean, right now it doesn't sound like I have enough energy to talk about this, but when we get to what I'm going to talk about, I'll pick it up, guys. Sorry if this is a little bit lackluster, but I'm a little bit tired right now. But let's just keep going here, guys. So she made Kurt Angle the team captain, which is very interesting to me, and I think we kind of knew what it was going on here, is that, of course, it was going to be Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon going to be the team captains. I think a lot of guys were saying those guys are going to be part of the team and part of the 5. So it kind of takes away a roster space from the guys that really earned it and really deserved it and are really there like 365 days in the year, or 364 depending if they take a day off or not. But I mean, I need my guys to really get something where I need the wrestlers to actually be shown in this program. I'm tired of the part timers and the Kurt Angle. I mean, Kurt Angle should be held for a special event. There should only be one of those guys. But the problem is we're probably going to get two for WrestleMania. So, of course, with the four horsewomen of UFC and, of course, the WWE. And Kurt Angle is apparently going to have an opponent at WrestleMania. But that's neither besides the point. The point is Kurt Angle is going to be the team captain of Raw to lead his team against the SmackDown team against Shane McMahon, who's probably going to be the captain. And basically, after all this happened, she belittles Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle gets his balls chopped off. I mean, everything that happens to Kurt Angle, anything bad that could happen in terms of being talked down to, happened with Stephanie McMahon. But this led to another backstage segment where The Miz shows up late to Raw, and of course, Kurt Angle's, upset. He's in his feelings. Of course, he's very passionately upset, just very angry. So The Miz comes in late. Kurt Angle's very upset, wants The Miz to explain himself why he was late. And, of course, this led to Kurt Angle making a match for The Miz, an IC title match, which we're going to get to later in the show. And that's going to be against a mystery opponent, and we will find out in a little bit. Next led to another match, which was going to be Bayley and Alicia Fox, but, of course, it ended up being Nia Jax because Alicia Fox is the captain. Of course, you don't want to kind of make her seem weak by going against Bayley because, of course, Bayley could destroy her. But this kind of just ruins Bayley, and I wish they would have saved her for like a Survivor Series return. Like, now would have been the perfect time to bring Bayley back into it. But instead, of course, she's going to lose to Nia Jax, who, of course, like we talked about in the news and rumors, she complained to The Rock. She talked to The Rock about what to do. Of course, she wasn't happy with her creative booking, who is really in the WWE. And also, she was asking for more money, I believe. And to me, I just think it's kind of, the locker room will get her because if I'm Sasha Banks, if I'm Bayley, if I'm Becky, if I'm Charlotte, hell, if I'm even Alexa Bliss, I'm pissed off as hell. I know Alexa Bliss is her friend, but I'm still pissed off as a friend. Because think about it. All I have to do is go to my most famous cousin ever, who is the godchild of WWE, the guy that helped revolutionize the WWF in the 90s. And, of course they're not going to kind of go against The Rock because The Rock is so prominent, he's so big. But at the same time, you just can't do this to your superstars. You can't even do this to, I don't care if it's The Rock's cousin, I'm tired of WWE just falling under pressure to The Rock. I understand The Rock's got good intentions because, it's family. Family comes first. And you always got to take care of your family. I'm not knocking him for that. What I am knocking him for, though, is trying to create a situation where it doesn't need to be created by him just because you're friends or family with Nia Jax. I'm hoping these girls take up issue with that with the WWE or do some in-house stuff because I don't think it's fair that she could just whine and complain about her creative booking-wise. Meanwhile, Bayley's getting buried and is basically not getting cheered for anymore on the Raw roster, which is crazy to me. Because if you told me that in NXT when she's, having these matches against Sasha Banks in Brooklyn, against Asuka, even though she lost, if you're telling me that she's going to be just another girl, then I would have called you crazy back then in NXT. But of course now we know the situation. She is a jobber. She is very booked poorly, and it just shows you that WWE has no idea what to do with these NXT guys. This is about the 5th or 6th NXT guy that they've ruined, and it just fucking sucks, man. I'm sorry to just cuss, but it just sucks. It sucks to see that these guys had such prominence in a promotion that's in your company. In your company. It's in your company, and you just don't book them the right way, and it just gets so frustrating. But anyways, of course, Bayley lost, and Nia Jax is going to be the first member of the Raw Women's Survivor Series team in the Classic Survivor Series matchup at Survivor Series, which I keep saying, but that's what it is for there. So let's move on to the thing that came out. So after that happened, Samoa Joe comes back. Samoa Joe, the dude that is such a beast, and the dude that should really be called the Monster and the Destroyer, which he is. Samoa Joe comes out, cuts a promo saying that he's here back for business. He's back from his knee injury. He's got business to take care of, and I hope that he's on the roster, guys. He's just such a great guy. He's such a great heel, which is what I like about Samoa Joe. Just a great heel, awesome persona, and, the crowd is still in it. I just loved how the crowd just cheered, Joe, 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 because they were into him, and that's what I like about Samoa Joe. And I wish that they would have let Samoa Joe have the title, or even Braun Strowman have the title against Lesnar. I think Samoa Joe having the title would have been such a fresh opener to everybody's eyes, and it would have been refreshing to see someone else, I don't mind if Roman takes it from Samoa Joe later down the line, but at least give it to Samoa Joe because I think he could be a worthy heel and a worthy adversary for Roman Reigns, especially if you build up the storyline where Samoa Joe is undefeated against Roman Reigns. And then you could have built that up at WrestleMania, because you want him to be the babyface, even though Vince McMahon says there's no more babyfaces or heels. And so, he had a match against Apollo Crews, Titus Worldwide's tried to up their brand, but of course they went against the Destroyer, the dude that coquina clutches people to death. And I thought it was a very funny line. So in the match, Samoa Joe gets Apollo Crews in the corner, and I think Apollo Crews is going to do a move on him, and basically Samoa Joe just picks Apollo Crews up and just says, "Sit your ass down," puts him down to the ground. I thought that was hilarious, man. Samoa Joe is just a great heel. He's a great character, and I really hope they do right by him. Hopefully. I mean, it all depends. We'll see how it goes on. But like I said, Samoa Joe returns. He wins the match against Apollo Crews with the coquina clutch, submission tap out. Fucking beast, guys. Fucking beast. Next with number 4, and I know I said I was going to talk about it, but we're going to go in chronological order here, guys. And that is The Miz versus Matt Hardy, who is the surprise opponent for The Miz. Still a good match. I thought The Miz carried himself pretty well. Of course, Matt Hardy's going to do majority of the offense. He's going to be one of those baby faces that gets in majority of the offense but loses to the chicken shit heel, which, of course, The Miz is good at. But, it kind of sucks because the IC title isn't seen as, this prestigious title like The Miz claims it is. And that's what kind of sucks about it. I wish he was I wish the title was a little bit more prestigious now that the Universal title is not going to be defended at all until the Royal Rumble, which... yeah, just kind of sucks. I wish they would give it to Samoa Joe, like I said, or Braun Strowman, which they should have. But that's neither here nor there. They had a great match between Matt Hardy and The Miz. It was pretty good, but of course, The Miz was going to win, which kind of sucks because The Miz was booked so poorly, and he takes so many of the pins anyway, even against Kurt Angle. But, it's just one of those things that happens, and we'll just have to see where it goes from here, guys. Let me just do something right quick. All right, guys, I'm back. So, like I said, The Miz wins against Matt Hardy, and I wish he would just, hopefully he becomes broken because this Matt Hardy that's by himself and just still being the twist of fate, reborn by fate Matt Hardy, it's not working for me, guys. They need to fix it up. They need to do something with it. Hopefully he becomes broken or awoken, however it is. I just hope it happens, guys, because we need to see a different Matt Hardy because I just want to see it, guys. I just want to see a different Matt Hardy, a guy that's just invested in his character, because I feel like now he's not really invested in this character, but once he becomes awoken or broken, he will be totally invested, and that's when I'm going to be really excited about the character development and the kind of matches we could see with him. See, I would love him to go against a Bray Wyatt if they build Bray Wyatt up correctly. I would love to see him go against a Finn Balor even. I mean, those matches will be good, guys. We just have to wait and see. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. Guys, we're here with Alexa Bliss. It's one of those things where she's just cutting a promo with Kurt Angle. It's very just complex in terms of, Alexa Bliss just using her conniving ways to get what she wants. But, of course, Kurt's having none of it. And, of course, Kurt Angle is just in his feelings. He's in his mood. And, of course, he sets up a championship match, which is going to be the main event tonight against Mickie James. So we're just going to see what's going on here, guys, and let's move on to the next thing, which is, of course, going to be the Asuka match versus the Jobber, which I'm going to have a little bit of a gripe with WWE since they released Emma. If they knew that they were going to release Emma, guys, I'm just upset because they basically wasted Asuka's potential. They wasted Asuka's dominance for a good match with Emma if they were just going to release her anyway. I would have rather, if they should have kept Emma if this was going to be the plan. But of course, if Emma was going to leave anyway, I think a lot of YouTubers said it. If Emma was going to leave anyway, guys, she should have just buried Emma and made her just a jobber. Like JD said from JD from NY206, he said this perfectly. She's 28. She's going to recover from her career. Of course, there's going to be bumps on the road. But, she's a WWE superstar. She'll get booking matches, and she's a good wrestler. I mean, the thing is, people will hire you if you're good at your job, and she is so good at her job. But the problem is WWE has too many women right now, and they're only utilizing a couple. They're not utilizing everybody like they should. And, of course, we felt like Emma was underutilized, and, of course, she was, man. She's one of those wrestlers that should have been up here, or at least in the high mid-card, but she ends up being, like, down here with just like, a jabroni level, which is never good. But anyway, it just makes me mad that Asuka had to kind of waste her dominance. Or not dominance, but she looked weak against Emma, and basically she just jabrones this jobber, and we just got Asuka winning with the Asuka lock, and of course it's going to happen, man. Just so frustrated, man. It's just, WWE just doesn't know the meaning of long-term booking. It's just one of those, it's just like, oh, let's just see what we're going to do tonight, and we're just going to wing it. It's like that kid that gets a C on his report card because all he does is the homework the night of, or the homework the day of, when he's just in class, he's in a period before, this is just high school terms, so he's in like fourth period, and he's got to submit a paper by sixth period. So of course, he's just going to write the paper fast, and hopefully he gets a decent grade, and he gets a C. That's, to me, is what Raw booking is, and of course we saw it today with Asuka. Just so frustrating with that, guys. It just needs to be addressed, it needs to be concerned, but let's continue on. Kurt Angle's backstage. Daniel Bryan comes into the scene. Of course, he's trying to make peace with Kurt Angle about what happened with Shane McMahon with the Under Siege thing and the SmackDown invading the team. Kurt Angle's just very alert. He's very in his feelings. He's just very uptight because, of course, he doesn't want another fuck-up from Raw, because if he fucks up again, then Stephanie McMahon is going to belittle him, which nobody in the right mind wants. So, Daniel Bryan comes here to make the peace, and of course, Kurt Angle still being good friends with Daniel Bryan, just is like, just stay in my office, you'll be all right. And this just leads to Kane, when the lights turn dim. Kane chokeslams Daniel Bryan. I don't think he actually did, but of course he chokeslams Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's injured from Kane. Kane is out of control. Maybe Kane will be part of the team. I hope not, guys. Like I said in my other reviews, Kane is 50 years old. This is the one sport and the one entertainment business where it apparently the older you get, the better you are. Even if you're 50 years old going against a 22-year-old in a sporting environment, that would never be the case. And I wish they would change that perspective of it, because it just makes it very unbelievable. Even if, Kane is, 6'11", 7 foot, and he's, 285 pounds, he's still old, he's still not as agile as he used to be. And it just makes me think that, wow, a guy that's like in his 30s or in his 20s couldn't beat Kane, really? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Honestly, guys, it just doesn't make any sense, and I hope they fix that about the WWE. I mean, there's some characters that you have certain feelings about and certain things that you don't want to see, but that's the reason why there's retirements. It's just one of those things where Kane should have been retired, The Undertaker should have been retired. I just don't want to see it, guys. It's just one of those things, we just don't need to see it. So let's just keep moving on here. Finn Balor had a match against Cesaro, which is a very good match. Probably one of my contenders for match of the night, if not the match of the night. Finn Balor and Cesaro, of course, going to be a good match. Finn Balor coming back from the burial from Kane. Apparently, he somehow dug his way out of his grave from the too sweet chance. There's probably a too sweet on his grave. He dug it up. He came back, and he had a match against Cesaro, which is really good, like I said. And, of course, Finn Balor wins against Cesaro, which kind of sucks for Cesaro because I like Cesaro, but if it's a good match, it's okay to deal with the loss, but, it still doesn't make any sense to me with the Finn Balor and Kane thing. I'm still very upset with that. And now, apparently, they're souring on the idea of Finn Balor challenging Brock Lesnar. And if that was the case, then we saw it last week, and he picks up a win here. Doesn't make any sense to me, but, it is what it is. The next match that comes up after, also forgot to say that Kane also chokeslams, or no, sorry, not chokeslams, but tombstone pile drivers Finn Balor at the top of the ring. Sorry, not the top of the ring, but the top of the Titantron. Where the Titantron's at, that's where he took the tombstone, which of course led to Seth Rollins versus Kane. Still trying to build up Kane as a monster, still trying to build up Kane as this unstoppable being, monster among men. It's just a very stupid thing to do. Seth Rollins is a good talent as well, and you're just burying him as well just for Kane to get potentially get do the job for Braun Strowman, which it doesn't need to be done, guys. I don't understand why you need to do it. It just doesn't make sense to me, guys. You already have Braun Strowman as the top guy. He's getting a great reaction from the crowd. You don't need to build him up anymore. Isn't that what the Big Show is? A lot of YouTubers have said it. The Big Show was there to do it, and I don't understand why it just has to be Kane building up him again when Kane is running for mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, and he's actually, I don't know if he's the mayor. Actually, I think he is the mayor. But anyway, that's besides the point. He's the mayor of Tennessee, so he should be focusing on that and letting him just enjoy his life as mayor instead of saying, hey, Kane, can you come back and do the job for Braun Strowman when he doesn't need to do it? Just very stupid booking, very stupid ideas. WWE just has no idea what they're doing anymore. It's just so frustrating, guys. It's so easy. The pinpointing things is so easy. It just frustrates me to a nth degree of why Kane is still here and why Braun Strowman needs to be why Kane needs to lose to Braun Strowman when Braun Strowman is already over. It doesn't make any sense, guys, but let's move on from that because I'm going to probably be on a rant. And, of course, Kane gives a tombstone to both Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, who is his tag team partner, who was there beside him by the ring. And this led to basically another theme of the night where The Miz, after he wins his match against Matt Hardy, he's celebrating. He said, let's go back to my locker, get some champagne, let's celebrate. And then he sees a bag of garbage. The literal representation of Raw has been centered in his locker room. The Miz is worried because he remembers that they dumped Braun Strowman in the dumpster truck and got taken away, and they haven't seen him since. They're worried. Braun Strowman's playing these mind games. The Miz just ends up crapping his pants. He has that face where he's just like, oh, shit, I'm about to shit my pants if I see Braun Strowman. And we're going to find out later tonight if he does see Braun Strowman in a little bit. After we got the Miz thing, this is where I'm going to be in a fit of rage. You remember last year around this time when there was another trick or street fight. It was Gallows and Anderson, and I believe it was against Enzo Amore and Big Cass. And this one stuck out to me the most because I just remember that match so well because of how terrible and gimmicky the match is and how stupid and insulting our intelligence and insulting my ability to have fun with wrestling because you have a trick or street fight. Again, Gallows and Anderson lost last year. Can they redeem themselves this year against Rhino and Heath Slater? No, absolutely not. They couldn't win against Rhino and Heath Slater. Dudes from the Bullet Club. I don't know what they did to Vince McMahon. I don't know if they looked at him the wrong way. They gave him the wrong steak order. I don't know what happened here, but my God, did they just get buried to the depths of hell? We can't even see them again. This is just so frustrating to me because these guys could have been such a great faction with Finn Balor or AJ Styles, depending on who you want to pair them up with. Probably Finn Balor because he needs a little bit more, I think he's a better heel than AJ Styles, and I think it fits his character better. But my God, guys, you could have had the most dominant faction, or at least a good faction if you wanted to go with the Shield reunion again. But instead, you decide to bury these guys in a trick or street fight wearing their Southpaw regional wrestling stuff that they like to do, which of course is funny and I like that stuff, but it has a time and place, and here for these guys right now is not the time because it just basically makes them look like what everybody thinks they are, a joke. They are a joke. It doesn't make any sense why they're buried like this. I just don't understand, guys, why they have to look so bad against Rhino and Heath Slater, who are dressed as fucking Mr. and Mrs. Claus, the wrong goddamn holiday. I know it's a parody. I know it's a gimmick, but so stupid. I hate that the fact that before this match happens, we see every WWE staff and member, setting up the ring with pumpkin heads and Bob for apples, trying to do that stupid spot that they did last year against Enzo and Cass again. And it's just so frustrating, guys. It's so humiliating. How are these guys not humiliated? Both these guys, both tag teams. How are you not humiliated by being on Raw in a Chicker Street fight? But it's just the stupidest thing ever. Just imagine your New Japan days where you were beasting and feasting and doing it because you think it was badass and you loved it. But now here you are on the PG era. It doesn't even matter about PG. You're just in this gimmicky match, which is Halloween themed, which, I don't mind Halloween themed matches and stuff, but that's the reason why you have Halloween Havoc. And that's the reason why you have, you do the theme where it's just not as gimmicky and stupid, where it insults our intelligence. And I am just so sick and tired of the WWE doing this to us, guys. So tired of it. It just frustrates me to no end why this happened. The crowd is dead. The crowd just doesn't know how to react to it because the crowd thinks this is stupid. But of course, they don't want to insult the wrestlers in the ring, so they're not going to say this is stupid on WWE live television. Maybe they did, and WWE edited that out. But because we don't know, this match to me and the way that the crowd didn't react to it, that's the worst reaction you can get as a wrestler. No reaction, and that's what they got in this match, except for some spots here and there. But like I said, not funny, not creative, just so dumb. I hate that they did this, guys. Just so stupid. I don't know how anybody can justify this. I don't know how the casuals can justify this. I don't know how WWE supporters can justify this. All I know is that I would never justify this. If I was running a promotion, this would be a match I would never think about. And if someone gave it to me as a creative project, I would crumple up that paper, throw it in the garbage, light the thing on fire, and fire the dude that suggested that, because that is just stupid. That's just a stupid idea, and I know I exaggerated a little bit there, guys, but it's just a stupid idea. Why would you bury these guys with such a terrible gimmick? It's just so frustrating, guys. All right, guys, we're back from the transition. Sorry it took a little bit of a while, but, had a little bit of a phone call, some important news on the way, but that's either here nor there. I also had to cool down from the debacle that was the Gallows and Anderson, along with the Rhino and Heath Slater thing. It just irks me, and this is just my final point about it. It's just one of those things that I hate about what Raw has done to these guys, especially because they are New Japan guys. These guys are supposed to be such a dominant tag team, and Carl Anderson can actually wrestle, and that's the thing that sucks, and that's the thing that gets lost in this whole thing. And it just changes the perspective of WWE fans of how the guy is, because they decide to bury the guy by having these gimmick matches, by having him lose, not having him wrestle to his full capability. And that's what ruins tag teams. That's what ruins guys like Carl Anderson, who are really good, but they just get buried. It's just one of those things that I hate, and I hope WWE change that. But looking at their track record with Nakamura, with Asuka even, with Bobby Roode, with Bayley, it's going to prove that I'm just scared as hell for the other guys in NXT or anyone else that wants to come from a different company that wants to come to WWE. Because if you're just going to get treated like this, I just don't see it, guys. I don't see why you would come other than the money. And although the money's good, if you are good enough and you're a wrestler, you will get the money. It'll be there, guys. No matter what happens, you will get money. If you are good at your job and you're good at what you do, you will get money no matter where you go. And you might even make more than you would if you went to WWE, along with merchandising, with Funko Pops. I mean, just look at the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes. They're doing it big in the indies because they're being their own selves and they're being true to who they are. And they just want to wrestle. And that's what is great about those guys. And people should follow that model when they decide to come to WWE, and whether or not you want to cash grab or you want to cash grab and build your character to a point where WWE will sign you where your character will be impeccable. But, it's that vicious cycle with WWE, and, will it continue? Probably until Vince McMahon either retires or dies. A sad thing to say, but it's just one of those things that's just going to happen. It just has to happen if you want WWE to be where Triple H sees it in NXT. And I just want Triple H to run it that way. It makes no sense why they don't run it that way to begin with right now in this era. But anyway, after that match, the Chicker Street fight, I believe Gallows and Anderson lost that match. We got to the part where we had Elias play the guitar, show some replays of Jason Jordan getting his shoulder or arm just brutally battered by the guitar. And of course, Jason Jordan comes out all heated and stuff. Elias escapes the ring, and of course, who else but the guitar that Elias was playing takes the fall and gets destroyed. And this feud's going to continue for a while now, but who cares? It's just one of those things that it doesn't really matter. And then again, we got The Miz still trying to escape. This is the time where he tells Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, or returning Bo Dallas, which I forgot to mention, is also back. And he basically says, you know what, just grab the stuff, let's get out of here. We're not dealing with this. Braun Strowman's coming after us, and we just got to get out of here. But of course, Kurt Angle stops them. Kurt Angle says, not only are you trying to arrive late, you're trying to leave early now? No, you're staying here until the end of the show. And basically, The Miz, looking like he's just been defeated, is just like, fine. But, we're going to see what happens to him coming up pretty soon. And that basically leads us to the final two segments of this thing, and that is the Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James women's title match. Again, very disrespectful for the CM Punk chants. Basically, that means is that the crowd is bored. It kind of sucks because Mickie James is actually a really good wrestler, and Alexa Bliss is no slouch either. Although, she's not to the capable or capacity of a Mickie James, she's still pretty good, and I don't understand why the crowd booed her. I mean, I understand that, maybe the women's match isn't what you wanted at the main event, but I just think it's one of those things that they had nothing else going on in the show other than it was just another lazy-ass book show, as I said and mentioned in this thing. Nothing else really happened, and it just wasn't a really important Raw, in my opinion, other than Daniel Bryan getting chokeslam, which will lead into the Survivor Series storyline, and then, of course, my rant on the Trick or Street fight, which, like I said, I won't go into it again, but that's what my feelings are about that. But let's just move on to the thing here with the Alexa Bliss and Mickie James match. Alexa Bliss wins, celebrating in the ring. We cut to a scene where the Miz Taraj they got their limo, they're running, running to it, getting into it, they feel safe, they're like, woof, we just avoided damage. And of course, what stops them in front of their limo but a dumpster truck backing in, and all of a sudden, through the rubble of garbage, trash bags, boxes, stuff that's just nasty, here comes Braun Strowman with his two fists held high like this, yelling, "Raw!" Sorry, got carried away there, but, he did his thing, he's yelling at them, and by God, is this guy just a scary dude. Oh, my God. He basically destroyed the three. They all ran into the ring when Alexa Bliss is still celebrating. Braun Strowman comes in, absolutely destroys Bo Dallas, destroys The Miz, and a poor Curtis Axel, man. He, of course, had to take all the bumps. He took not one, but two power slams, and then another power slam onto the table on Raw, which, of course, is near the entrance ramp. I don't know why I couldn't say that earlier, but the entrance ramp, he's there. And my God, dude, it's just one of those things where poor Curtis Axel taking the fall, taking the damage, but, that is going to be the end of the Raw itself. Now, what did we think of it? Absolutely mediocre, absolutely just one of those Raws that I felt like they thought they could get away with just a Halloween gimmick and just, Halloween things. I don't know. I just wasn't impressed with today's Raw. It felt long. It felt exaggerated. And the only intriguing storyline here is the Daniel Bryan thing, and along with just my rant about the Trick or Street fight with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Those were the only two things that were of notice to me. Of course, I said that the Cesaro-Finn Balor match, which is a great match of the night. On any other day, I would be praising it. But on this show, and particularly what happened in this show, I'm sorry, guys. This Raw was not good. I had no kind of interest in the show. I started falling asleep during the third hour, which is about the time where everyone, shuts off the Monday Night Raw. And it just shows you guys that they need to start booking stuff better. It needs to be a lot better. This Survivor Series build has been very poor right now, especially coming off, you would say, a hot angle with the invasion. And I don't know, guys. I'm just not impressed myself. Tell me what you guys think down below. Were you guys impressed with Raw? Let me know. I'll put a card up probably in the upper right hand of the screen, and I'll give you guys a rating system of yay or nay, or yay or nah, and let me know if you guys enjoyed it with a yay or not with a nah. All right, guys, that is going to be it for your Raw review, guys. Raw, what did we learn episode. All I know is I'm tired as hell. Hope you guys enjoyed everything that we had here on the What Did We Learn episode. Of course, remember to check out our other stuff on the Fusion Corp channel. Like I said, guys, thank you so much for getting us to 18 subscribers. We're still working hard. Our goal right now is to get to 100 subscribers by the end of November. Hopefully that can happen, but we'll see, guys. I think I have high hopes for this channel. We're getting a lot of positive feedback. We're also getting some constructive criticism as well, so we're not staying complacent and staying stagnant, which is what Raw is doing right now. But anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie, here with you on the Fusion Corp channel. I'll holler at you guys at the next episode. Peace, guys.